Hello, friends. I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. Welcome to our Stability Meets Mobility practice. Tonight, I'm going to be leading you through a Anahata heart chakra sequence. So, when I think about the anatomy that I would associate with heart chakra, I think about the front and back of the heart, of course. So, thoracic spine, the pectoral muscles, but I also think about shoulders, arms, and to a degree, neck. What I think you'll need to be safe, to enjoy, and to get the most out of your practice are a yoga mat and one, or better yet, two yoga blocks. So pause your recording, roll out your mat, gather up your props, and when you're ready, press play, and I'll meet you on your mat for our Anahata Chakra Stability Meets Mobility practice. All right, friends, we're going to get started. So let me have you start in a seated position. Find a comfortable, sustainable, sane seat for yourself. The long spinal column and the space to allow your soft tissues to drape down toward the earth. Now, we're going to open up with a cleansing breath, and then we're going to do a little bit of chanting. So what I'll tell you about the chanting is if that doesn't feel okay for you, don't do it. This is something I think it adds value to the practice, or I wouldn't include it. And I think if it doesn't feel good to your soul or your psyche or what have you, then it probably is not good for you and you should not do it. All right, so let's start with a cleansing breath. Draw on a deep, life affirming inhale. Hold it at the top. And then open your mouth. Let out a ha sound as you exhale. Good. Now, three times, I'll cue for an inhale and I'll invite you to join me in chanting YAM. Y-A-M. So think about this like the Om sound, except you're making Yam. So exhale the Yam sound for as long as you can. Inhale. Yam. Inhale. As you chant Yam, bring your attention to your heart, particularly the right side of your heart, an area about the size of your thumb, your spiritual heart. Inhale. And then roll over your crossed ankles. I'd like you to make your way into half frog. So come down onto your belly. Bring your elbows in line with your shoulders, fingertips pointing up in the direction of the top edge of your mat. Shift your gaze over to the left, and then lift your left knee up in the general direction of your left elbow. The left knee doesn't have to touch the elbow, it doesn't even have to be close. And then you may notice I'm going to keep my head lifted a little bit because otherwise you're not going to be able to hear me. But for you, I'd like you to rest your right temple down on the mat. Start to lengthen out your breath, both your inhale and your exhale. And I'd like for you to feel where you're getting the most provocative sensation here. So that could be something to do with your breath. It might be the sense of your body pressing down into the mat and the sense of the earth reciprocating that pressing up, that pressing action back into your body and all the places you're coming into contact with it. Or it might be a sense of gravity gently drawing your left hip open and down toward earth. All right, friends. Slide your left knee back down in line with your right. Shift your gaze through center first, and then shift your gaze over to the right. Lift your right knee up in the general direction of your right elbow. Within the chakra system, the lower three chakras, Muladhara or root, Swadhisthana, sacral chakra, and Manipura, solar plexus, are linked to our physicality. They're links to our physical body. So we could say the lower three chakras link us to earth. And then the upper three chakras, Vishuddha, throat, Ajna, third eye, and Sahasrara, the crown chakra, are linked to our intellect or cognitive function and speech. So you could say that the upper three chakras link us to both the thinking part of the mind, but also to our divinity. So the upper three chakras link us to heaven. In the context of the chakra system, where heaven and earth come together and meet is Anahata, or heart chakra. Lower your right knee back down in line with your left. Shift your gaze into neutral. And then walk your hands, rather your elbows up under your shoulders. Put your shoulders over your elbows. Step your legs long behind you. Press down into the tops of the feet until the knees start to lift. Now here, press down into your index knuckle and thumb. Soften your belly, nice and soft through the belly, and drag your elbows back towards your waist. Anahata is Sanskrit for unstruck. When an energy is flowing, is when that heart chakra is open and balanced, we'll easily feel love and compassion for beings outside of our immediate family and pets. Inhale. Exhale, lower your heart down to the earth. Roll over onto your right side. Grab a block. And then come into sort of a side forearm plank with your right elbow floating, or rather your right shoulder floating over your right elbow, whole left plane of your body floating over your right. And then I'd like you to take a block, tuck it into your right rib cage so that the edge of the block that's closest to your waist is firmly in your rib cage. The edge of the block furthest away from your waist is just barely in the armpit. And then bring your left hand down to the mat in front of the block, just enough that you can slide that right elbow forward and release the right hand side of your head and face into your right hand. Right, so this is a trigger point release for serratus anterior. So it's not supposed to feel good, right? This is not going to be comfortable. It also shouldn't have you in tears. So a couple of options to manage the sensation. One, if you put a bend in your knees, that will reduce the sensation a bit. But also, the job of this left hand, this is the dial knob on the sensation. And if you press your left hand more firmly down into the mat or into your block, that will also reduce the sensation. Right? If you want to play around with this, if you rock the front of your heart forward toward the left-hand edge of your mat, that's going to really get into serratus anterior, which I think of as a downward-facing dog muscle. So I'll talk about that when we're in down dog as well. And then if you press the back of your heart toward the right edge of your mat, ooh, it gets into two of the four muscles associated with the rotator cuff complex. In particular, right now, teres minor is where I'm feeling it. One of the ideas that I hope to leave you with in terms of the Dharma talk for tonight is that this is my opinion. I feel like the heart chakra of all the chakras in the system is the one that probably responds most readily to us willing ourselves to open and close that chakra space. Doesn't mean it's easy, right? And I'll tell you my story about that. All right, release your left hand down to the earth. right hand down to the earth. Lift up, remove the block. We're going to do an internal rotation stretch for your shoulder. So roll onto your right side. Take your right elbow away from your shoulder about 45 degrees. Rest your right ear on your right bicep. Palm of your right hand faces the earth. And then drag that right thumb so it's an inch or two away from your chest. Now place your left hand on the back of your right hand. So we're not aggressively pressing the palm of your right hand down to the earth, but we're adding a little bit of additional weight, the weight of your left hand, maybe your left wrist and forearm. Where I expect you'll feel this, if it's different than that for you in your body, it's probably fine. But where I expect you will feel this is on the top and maybe the outside of the right shoulder. That's kind of what we're looking for here. And we'll do an external rotation stretch from eagle pose later in the practice as well. Release that right wrist. You can let your right arm go long over your body. Now I'm going to do a little break dance for demonstration purposes, but for you, if you straighten your arms and legs, just roll over onto your left side. But once again, I'm going to break dance. Come onto your left side, left forearm plank, left shoulder floating over your left elbow. Tuck that block under the left side of your rib cage. Again, the edge closest to your waist is in the rib cage. Edge furthest away is barely in the armpit. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Walk that left elbow further out away from your body. You may find one side is more tender than the other, right? So for me, this side is I definitely am feeling this more. The other thing that may make a difference is the firmness of your block. So I've got firm foam blocks, but they do have some give. So if you are using like cork blocks, or Manduka makes like a really dense, compact gray foam block, those are rough. You could even pad those up with a blanket, and that might make it a much more sustainable shape. And breathe. We're breathing the whole time. That ujjayi breath. Release your right hand down to the mat. Left hand down to the mat. Lift up. Remove your block. Come down onto your left side. Walk that left elbow so it's 45 degrees away from your shoulder. Bring your left hand so the palm is facing the earth. Rest your left ear on your left bicep. Bring your left thumb about 2 inches away from your chest. And then place your right hand on the back of your left hand. So as I mentioned, when the heart chakra is open and balanced, we quite easily feel love and compassion for beings outside of our immediate family and pets. Right? But when it's not balanced, it looks really different. So I'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll talk about why that happens. In fact, I'll talk about why first. So we come into the world pretty balanced, and then almost immediately we start getting traumatized. We get traumatized physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and based on those traumas, my best understanding is we start to change behaviors, sometimes the way that we posture our body in a way that changes the flow of energy. Right. So, like, one thing to think about when we start working on ourselves and trying to live a conscious life and trying to correct these imbalances, it's easy to feel shame or to be really judgmental toward ourselves. But it really calls for some compassion. We have to remind ourselves that what we did to change the flow of energy in those chakras at that season in our life, real or perceived, in a real or perceived way, we had to make that change in order to survive that season of our life. Right, release your right hand, let your left arm come out long. Press yourself up into a tabletop position. Float your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. Note, if you get compression in your wrists, take your hands forward. Still tabletop. You can do this in high plank too. Index fingers are at 12 o'clock. Ground down into your index knuckle and thumb. For rhomboid push-ups, the goal is the arms stay straight, the back of the head stays buoyant. On an inhale, release just your heart down toward the earth. Space between your shoulder blades closes together as if you were pinching a broomstick between them. Exhale, puff the back of your heart up toward the stars. Maybe at the top of this movement, release your chin to your chest. Inhale, drop your heart down toward the earth. Exhale, press the back of your heart up toward the stars. Inhale, release your heart down toward the earth. Exhale, round through your shoulders. And then come into a neutral spine position. Take your right hand to the center of your mat, right under your sternum. And then walk the right hand about a half a handprint further to your left. Now, thread your left hand under your right. So what we have here is pinky edge blade of right hand and pinky edge blade of left hand meeting or close. Now, from here, we're going to flow between cow and cat pose. On an inhale, drop your belly down toward the earth. Lift your gaze forward. Pull the heels of your hands back towards your knees. Exhale, push into your hands, press into your shoulders. Maybe release your gaze to the space between your knees. Inhale, drop your belly, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Do this 4 more times at the cadence and pace of your own breath. So that's how we get out of balance. And I'll talk a little bit about what the imbalances look like. It can go in either direction. But first, come into a neutral spine position. Release your hands again. Come into tabletop briefly. Tuck your toes up under your feet. Walk your knees together so we have camel legs. And then feet out wide. Move my hands and my block so you can see my feet. Maybe full mat width apart. Bring your left hand to the center of your mat, right under your sternum. Bring your right hand to the base of your skull. On an inhale, squeeze your legs together. Lengthen along your whole spinal column. Exhale, lift your right elbow up toward the stars. And then each inhale, dip your elbow maybe a third of the way down toward the earth. Exhale, re-engage right elbow up toward the stars. Do this 4 more times. So somebody is closed off. So if the heart chakra is either completely blocked or it's a deficient flow of energy, feeling genuine love and compassion for outside of immediate family and pets is probably not going to come very easily. All right, come back to stillness. Release your right hand down to the earth. Right away, right hand to the center of your mat, left hand at the base of your skull. Inhale, lengthen from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Exhale, lift your left elbow up toward the stars. Flow through this cycling movement 5 more times. And that person might feel genuine love and compassion for their immediate family and pets. But often to those people, it's going to feel pretty conditional, right? And it probably is frustrating for everyone. Release your left hand down to the mat. Release your knees back out to hip width apart. Walk your hands back toward your knees. Sit back into a hero's pose, sitting on your heels or sitting on 1 or 2 blocks. I'm going to turn to the side just for demonstration purposes. And from here, I'd like you to join together fingers, palms of your hands, forearms, maybe even elbows squeezed together, elbows just below chin level. Squeeze everything together. This is not easy. Your arms may be trembling already. That's okay. On your next inhale, feel your rib cage lift and expand. Lift your fingertips up toward the stars. Probably a subtle movement with the elbows squeezed together, like 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, come back to your starting position. Good, that's it. Inhale, lift your elbows up toward the stars. Feel the rib cage rise and expand. Exhale, come back to your starting position. This is going to start the same way. Inhale, lift the fingers up toward the stars. This time, As you exhale, press the fingers up as high as you can. Maybe see if you can get another 3/4 of an inch. Come back to center. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You guys stay there. I'm going to change my position just for demonstration purposes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release your right hand to your heart. Take your gaze to the right. Open your right arm out like a bird opening a wing. Inhale, come back to center. Squeeze. Left hand to your heart. Gaze to the left. Open your left arm up. Center. Squeeze. Right. Center. Squeeze. Left. Center. Squeeze. Right. Center. Squeeze. Left. Come back into center. Squeeze, 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 squeeze the pudding out of your arms, especially the elbows. Now, not everybody is going to be able to touch the elbows. That's okay. I don't care about that. I care about engaging the effort as if you could touch them. Good. Now, release your arms. Maybe shake your arms out. Good job. That's not easy. All right. Then rock forward. Come into a tabletop position. On your next inhale, tuck your toes under your feet. Exhale, press your hips up and back, find down dog. And right away, start to make some small movements of your lower body to warm yourself. Maybe that looks like pedaling the feet out. Maybe that looks like swaying the hips. All right, now stillness in your lower body. Let gravity draw your heels down toward the earth. They may not touch. They probably won't. That's okay. If your lower back is tight or tweaky, your hamstrings are tight, put a bend in your knees. But flatten your palms out on the earth. Press down into your index knuckle and thumb. Relax your neck. Like there was a great weight on the crown of your head, drawing it down toward the earth. All right, remember the serratus anterior work that we did? We're going to engage that again. Drag your elbows down toward your mat by 3/4 of an inch. Good. And squeeze them together as if you were squeezing a beach ball between them. Good. Breathe. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Find Uttanasana Ragdoll. Feet up to hip distance apart. Your whole belly resting on your thighs. Maybe that means a generous bend in your knees. Bend your knees as much as you need to get the belly on the thighs. And then anything you want with your arms. Tonight I'm going to grab opposite elbows and sway. Shift the weight into the balls of your feet. Light in the heels. 70% of the weight in the balls of your feet. 30% of the weight in the heels. So the heels aren't lifted. But if I came behind you and tried to slide a piece of paper under your heels, it would slide quite easily. But release your hands down to the earth. Heel toe your feet together. Leave the bend in your knees. Shift the weight into your heels. Inhale, halfway lift. Don't care about straight legs. I care about a straight spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into your feet. Circle your arms up over your head. Slice your hands down through heart center. Set a soft gaze at the tips of your fingers. Set an intention for your practice. We're going to do some thoracic spine work, friends, to try to open both the front and back of the heart. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, tee your arms out to the side. Palms face forward, thumbs reach for the stars. On an inhale, start to turn your palms up. Lift your gaze. Draw your thumbs back behind you. Open your heart. And then as you exhale, sweep your arms forward, fingers reaching toward the top edge of your mat. Release your chin to your chest. Puff the space between your shoulders toward the back edge of your mat. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, forward fold, right from here. Good, that's it, friends. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank, a high push-up position. This could be done on the knees. This is still a high plank. Press your heels toward the back edge of your mat. Make the back of your head buoyant. Notice this happens a lot for people. Gravity wants to draw their forehead down toward the earth. Resist that. Back of the head is buoyant. Puff the space between your shoulder blades up toward the stars. And then tap your knees down to the earth. Hands and arms stay shoulder width apart. Come all the way down. Now you could go back to Sphinx. Any heart opener. I'm going to choose Easy Cobra. Hands under your shoulders. Pull the heels of your hands back towards your waist. Squeeze your elbows in towards your waist. Press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Inhale right here. Exhale, lower your heart down to the earth. Press up and back into down dog. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, to your arms out to the side. Palms face forward. Thumbs reach for the stars. Inhale, flip your palms up. Turn your thumbs back. Lift your gaze. Open your heart. Draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round through the shoulders. That's it. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, right from here, go into a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into a high push-up position. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, knees up or down, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, to your arms out to the side. Inhale, open your heart. That's it, you guys. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or float to the top edge of your mat. If you float, land quiet as a ninja. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, to your arms out to the side. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Good job. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, make your way down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, move to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Might be a higher chair, might be a much lower chair, but shift the weight into your heels right away. Scoop your belly button towards your sternum right away. With a long spine, hands can be on the thighs, or heart center, or warrior one arms. Fingers reach for the stars, biceps frame the ears. Find some place you can soften. And you're already doing the pose. You don't have to change anything. For more sensation, lower your seat another 3 inches. Open your heart up more. That might involve lifting your gaze. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Good job. Inhale for a halfway lift. Lots of fire in the legs. You guys are doing great. Exhale, high plank. From high plank, this time on an inhale, rock forward. Float your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, knees up or down. Come halfway down. Low plank, chaturanga. No army ranger arms. Right hands and arms stay shoulder width apart. Inhale, open your heart. This time I'm going to choose upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step it forward. Maybe you replace your right hand with your right foot. Rise up into warrior one. Right toes at 12 o'clock. Left toes at 8 to 10 o'clock. Heels might be in one long line from the top to bottom edge of your mat. They might be out nice and wide. But ground down into the pinky edge blade and heel of your left foot. Press that pinky edge blade down more. Ground down into all four corners of your right foot. Spread the feet apart on your mat. You could have hands on that front thigh. You could keep your hands at heart center. You could do warrior one arms. This is just one more option, friends. They're just options. It's an invitation. Go post your arms out to the side. Make fists. On an inhale, draw your shoulder blades together as if you are trying to hold a broomstick between your shoulder blades. Lift your gaze. Open your heart. Exhale, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows come together. Release your chin to your chest, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, come back into goalpost arms. Exhale, release your hands down to the earth. Step your right leg back to meet your left. High plank. From here, either press directly into down dog or maybe flow through a vinyasa. Go from a high plank to a low plank. Any heart opener. And then we'll all meet in down dog. Good job, friends. On an inhale, lift your left heel skyward. Exhale, reach it forward. Rise up into warrior one. Right, just like the other side, I'd like you to build these poses from the ground up. You have to have the foundation in place and stable before you build the house on it. So ground down into all four corners of your left foot, pinky edge blade and heel of your right foot. Any arm variation or invitation to goalpost your arms out to the side. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, come back into goalpost arms. Exhale, release your hands down to the earth. Step back into high plank. And then flow through a vinyasa. Press directly into down dog. Take a break in child's pose, whatever your body calls for here. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or float to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, one breath. Exhale, forward fold. Good work, you guys. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step it forward. Rise up into warrior one. This is just transitional. Stabilize on your inhale. And then as you exhale, open up into Virabhadrasana, warrior two. Pinky edge blade of your left foot parallel to the back edge of your mat. Right away, press down into the pinky edge blade of that left foot. If you notice your right knee coming forward to that right ankle, walk your right foot forward. That's it. Draw your belly button towards your sternum. And then arms parallel to the earth. Now you can stay right here or shift your gaze out over the left edge of your mat. On an inhale, flip your palms up, lift your gaze, turn your thumbs back behind you, open your heart. Rounding through your shoulders is going to look different here. Listen for the cue. Exhale, palms down, and then up in the opposite direction. Turn your thumbs down, release your chin to your chest, round through your shoulders. That's it, you guys. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, come back into warrior two arms. Then as you exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the earth, step back into a high plank, and then make your way into down dog in whatever way makes sense. You guys maintain your orientation. I'm going to change positions just for demonstration purposes. On an inhale, lift your left heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step it forward. Rise up into warrior one. Inhale as you rise. Exhale, warrior two. Right, so one human tendency here, notice if this happens in your body, head and shoulders want to come forward toward that front knee. Draw them back in line so they're plumb. Head floats over shoulders, over your hips. Arms parallel to the earth, palms face down. Shift your gaze over the left edge, the right hand edge of your mat rather. On an inhale, flip your palms up, turn your thumbs back behind you, lift your gaze, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. That's it, just like that. Keep doing that. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, come back into warrior two arms. No vinyasa for the transition this time. Instead, on your next exhale, I'd like you to step your right leg forward to meet your left at the top edge of your mat. Good, that's it. From here, from the standing position, heel toe your feet out to hip distance apart. Tee your arms out to the side, palms face down. Begin to make small circles forward. And as you warm from these small circles, transition from small to medium circles. And then medium to large. And then transition from large to medium, medium to small. And then find an apparent pause. Change directions. Small circles backwards for me here. And then on your own, as you're ready, transition from small to medium, medium to large, large to medium, medium to small, and then find stillness again. All right, release your arms, maybe shake your arms out. We're not done with the arms, friends. We're going to do an exercise in the Army that they call this a turn and balance, but this is also a heart chakra activating exercise. Tee your arms out to the side, and we're going to rotate at the trunk to the right for right, 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 center, left, 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 center. So it's 3 times right, back to center, 3 times left, back to center, and then again. All right, so we'll begin. Right, 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 center, left, 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 center. 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 Good job. Relax your arms, shake your arms out. Heel toe your feet together. On an inhale, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, release your right arm under your left. To start, grab opposite shoulders. And if this is where you're at, you might also just try a kickstand leg. Open that right hip up, leave the ball of that right foot on the earth. So the other option here, we're going to do eagle. Wrap your right arm over your left. I'm going to turn to the side for demonstration purposes. Wrap your right knee over your left. Sit back into a chair. Stack joints. Now this is going to be a weird eagle. Maybe I'll face towards you again, actually. Turn the palm of both hands towards your face. Hook the left thumb with the index finger, middle finger, your right hand. Now lift your elbows up to shoulder height. Press your forearms forward. And start using your right thumb to drag your left forearm off plumb over to the left. I expect you will feel this. This is an external rotation stretch on the outside and top of that left shoulder. Find your drishti. Find a single point of focus on something that's not moving. Shift your gaze there. And come to your breath. If the balance is making you crazy, at least for today, I'm more interested in what's happening in the upper body than the lower body. So come back to that kickstand leg. All right, draw that left forearm back to plumb. And then unwind on an inhale. Circle your arms up over your head. Exhale, left under right, starting with grabbing opposite shoulders. Opening up the left hip, coming onto the ball of the left foot, sitting back into the chair. Or wrap your left arm over your right. Wrap your left knee over your right. Both palms come to face your face. Lift your elbows higher. Press your forearms further forward. Hook your right thumb with the middle finger, index finger, your left hand, and then start dragging that right forearm off to the right. So it's no longer blocking your field of vision in front of you. So somebody that had done eagle pose a lot walked in and saw what we're doing now. It looks like we're doing a really poorly executed eagle pose. But we're doing this intentionally. We're just trying to get into a really specific area of the body. Draw that right forearm back up to plumb. Inhale, unwind, sweep your arms up over your head. Exhale, hinge into a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into a high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, tap your knees down to the earth. Lower your heart down to the earth. Bring your hands down by your waist. Palms face up for now. Rest your right cheek on the mat. So shift your gaze to the left. Breathe. Right, shift your gaze to neutral. Flip your palms down the face of the earth. Lengthen your legs long behind you. And then on an inhale, scoop your belly button toward your sternum. Feel your pubic bone root down into the earth. Lift your chest, lift your legs. Salabhasana, locust pose. Right, so the tendency here is to really crank the neck, shift the gaze way forward. I would prefer that you leave your gaze directly under your head, or maybe at most where the top edge of your mat meets the floor of your home. The legs may be hip distance apart, but I'd like you to engage them as if you were squeezing them together. Lift up a little bit higher, root your pubic bone down into the earth more. And then exhale, lower your heart down to the earth, flip your palms up toward the sky. Shift your gaze to the right. Or bring your gaze back to neutral, flip your palms down toward the earth, lengthen your legs long again. On an inhale, scoop your belly button towards your sternum. Exhale, lift everything else up, locust, same arms, or interlace your hands behind your back. If you can, press the heels of your hands together, press your knuckles back towards your heels. Lift up higher. Right, we often focus on the sense of compression in the lower back, but I'd like you to focus on the sense of opening on the front plane of your body, from your forehead down to the tips of your toes, but especially your heart. Open your heart up any amount more. And then slowly, deliberately, with control, lower down, release your arms, palms face the sky. Shift your gaze to the left. We're going to do one more. You can do any locust, or you can join me in floor bow. For floor bow, shift your gaze to neutral, put a bend in your knees. Reach your hands down out from the outside in and catch a grip either on your shins, your ankles, or the tops of your feet. Then draw your knees back into center. On an inhale, scoop your belly button towards your sternum. Now your pubic bone's probably not going to touch initially here. And then start kicking your feet into your hands, lifting your heart up off the earth. Continue to breathe. And then slowly, with control, release. Leave your gaze neutral. Leave a bend in your knees. Drop your ankles from side to side. Windshield wiper your legs. And then release your feet down to the earth. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up onto your knees. And set up one block so that the long edge of the block is up on the medium set, is parallel to the long edge of your mat. The block is at the medium height. Set a second block right behind this. What is that, 4 or 5 inches? Start at the highest setting. And we're going to come into a heart bench. So come onto your seat. Lower your back then onto the block. What I want is the bottom of your rib cage on the bottom of that block. So think bra strap level. And then fold your spine down onto the mat. Maybe rest your head on this second block. Now, for some of you, it might be better for your neck. You might get more out of this shape if you lower the block. That doesn't feel good on my neck, so I'm going to leave mine at the highest height. Your feet can be together. You can have butterfly, like bound angle legs. You can have the soles of your feet on the earth. You can lengthen your legs long. I don't care about that. But I would like you to tee your arms out to the side. And I'd like you to feel for your shoulder blades draping down toward the earth on either side of the block. Right, I talked about what deficient or block look like in the heart chakra. Let me tell you about excessive. So someone with an excessive flow of energy in the heart chakra might trust too easily, like trust when it doesn't make sense, when it's not in their favor. Or fall in love too easily, fall in love when it's not in their favor. May have a difficult time setting boundaries. Or maybe codependent. Now, on the surface, codependency, it might look like compassion on steroids, but it's a totally different species, friends. Right? It's a form of dependency. You might consider it to be an addiction. And it's harmful. It's harmful to both parties. It's harmful to the relationship. So for the codependent person, the person with whom they're codependent, which could be a parent, could be a child, could be a friend, could be an intimate partner. If the person with whom they are codependent is in a good mood and having a good day, the codependent is in a good mood and has a good day. If the person with whom the codependent is related is having a bad day or is in a bad mood, the codependent's having a bad day and in a bad mood. So they get their own bad moods and bad days. They also get the bad moods and bad days of their partner, the other party in the relationship. Right? One of the ways to tell, this is based on my experience with codependency as the codependent, when we're in a codependent relationship, when we're in a healthy, boundaried relationship, both parties giving and receiving, and open and balanced heart chakras, we tend to grow in the relationship. We grow in our own direction, and we grow together in our relationship. When we're codependent, we tend to shrink in the relationship. We tend to become smaller. And it's frustrating. It's really like a recipe for resentment for the codependent, but it's not a good deal for the other party in the relationship too. Because first of all, the relationship is almost entirely fictitious. It's not real. And the person, whatever the nature of the relationship is, the person with whom they fell in love, they no longer have a relationship with that person. They have a relationship with this fake person that's saying and doing whatever they think that other person wants them to say or do. All right, friends, we're going to come out of this shape. So, like, I don't know a graceful way to come out of this, but I know a safe way. And the safe way is to gently roll off to the side, remove your blocks, come back onto your back, place the soles of your feet on the mat with a generous bend in your knees. Take your left foot out nice and wide, like full mat width out. Hook the pinky edge blade of your right foot on the outside of your left thigh, and then drop both knees over to the right. If you want a greater sensation of stretch, shift your gaze out over the fingers of your left hand. Right, as I mentioned, one of the things about the heart chakra that really inspires me is I think, like, at least my best understanding right now, my November 2021 understanding, is it responds better to a willful decision to change the flow of energy than any other chakra. So we have language around this. So, for example, if we have to take a hard line with someone we love and care about, what do we say? We say something like, I hardened my heart to her. I hardened my heart to him. Right? There's lots of language related to closing off. We also sometimes say, I opened my heart to this person. Or I love this idea. I hear it mostly in Christian circles, but I think it applies widely. We describe someone as having a heart for the world. Right? What a beautiful idea. And lift your knees back up to center. Release your right foot down to the earth. Go nice and wide. Right foot on the far right hand edge of your mat. Hook the pinky edge blade of your left foot on the outside of your right thigh. Drop the whole kit and caboodle over to the left. Shift your gaze out over the fingers of your right hand. Yoga is filled with language like this, right? How often did you hear in the practice tonight? And not just because it was a heart chakra class, but think about your garden variety vinyasa yoga class. How often do you hear a cue like open your heart, right? Every class, multiple times. Or let's think about the warrior series of poses. Warrior one is a closed hip standing pose. Warrior two is an open hip standing pose. Warrior three is a balancing pose. On the surface, they don't seem to have that much in common. As near as I can tell, the common feature for all three of these poses is that the practitioner has the heart open. Right? What makes the warrior courageous is that she chooses to walk through the world with an open heart, knowing that she's going to be hurt in the process. It's the hardest thing that we're asked to do. But it's the only way we're going to experience our true wholeness. We can't be healthy, whole, and complete with a closed off heart. All right. Lift your knees back up to center. Release your right foot down to the earth. Stay in these bridge set up legs. Grab one block and then press into your feet. Place the block under your lower back at the lowest height, and then float your feet over your hips, waterfall pose. Dorsiflexion of both feet, flex all 10 toes back towards your face. Right, so when someone has hurt us, and as children or maybe young adults or at any point in our life we start to close off our heart, one of the many problems is often the very best parts of ourselves, we end up depriving the rest of the world of those very best parts. Right? That sensitive, kind, beautiful heart. And we harden it because we can't bear to be hurt like that again. So it's understandable. And when we get to the point, if we're on a path of consciousness, and eventually we realize that our task is to open the heart, it's really hard and it's really important. It's really important, friends. The world needs your open heart. Right? Happy baby pose. Bring the soles of your feet parallel to the earth. Right? The muscular action is that of the arms drawing the knees down toward the earth. So we can accomplish this with the hands in the inner knee crease on the backs of the knees. The hands could be on the shins of the ankles. You could wrap your peace fingers around your big toes or take your hands out to the pinky edge blades of your feet. All of these are happy baby. If your baby's really happy, like joyfully happy, maybe rock from side to side. I should mention, my baby is happiness with my lower back on a block as it is right now. But I know people for whom this is not a happy shape at all, and the block hurts them. So if that's you, don't do shit in your yoga practice that hurts your friends. Lift up, remove that block. That's what it took me a long, long time to realize that doing things in my yoga practice that I know hurt me, there's no merit there, right? We don't gain anything, and I'm not talking about muscle soreness. I love muscle soreness for me and for you, but you know when it doesn't feel good in your joints. Listen to your body, honor that. All right, friends, release your happy baby. Lower the soles of your feet down to the earth. And then from here, set up into any final resting shape. It can be on your seat, your belly, your back, or your side. So I'm going to do a supported bridge with two blocks at the lowest height, one on top of the other, stacked under my lower back. But you can choose any position that allows you to both maintain relaxation and alertness at the same time. Begin to draw some deeper breaths. So with each inhale, go bigger in your belly and your chest, and go more full and complete with each exhale. And you might choose too to start to add an element of movement here beyond the breath. Maybe start with the digits, wiggle your fingers and your toes. And you may quickly warm from these movements. So if you do so, feel free to go larger. Maybe rotating your hands at the wrists, your feet at the ankles, maybe even taking a full body stretch. And then make your way into a fetal position. Roll onto either side. Take 3 or 4 breaths to check in and notice how you're feeling. Notice for the quality of openness in your heart. And then press yourself up into any seated position with any soft eyes, open with a soft gaze or gently closed. And you can do anything that you like with your hands. Thank you, friends, for allowing me to guide you through your practice. May you walk through the world with an open heart. Draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for today. Friends, I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness, and this was our Stability Meets Mobility Heart Chakra sequence. You're doing amazing. Just keep going.